yeah, just what happened was we were in the living room watching TV, and then after that, all of a sudden, my mom noticed a black figure coming from the kitchen all the way into my sister's room.
Oh my God.
My name is Utt.
My name is Raihan,
My name is Wayne.
My name is Kyle.
and this is Tales from Incredible Tales, a show where we look back at the popular MediaCorp horror series.
Utt is back with us once again. Hi, Utt.
Hello, guys.
Hi. So in every episode of Tales from Incredible Tales, we explore a different theme and tie it to a classic Incredible Tales episode.
For this episode, we're looking at super creepy superstitions. This episode's theme was inspired by The Mirror from season 5. Superstitions should not be put to the test, whether we believe them or not. A young woman named Pamela had to learn this the hard way.
Now let's take a look.
Days later, Adrian died first. Linda died mysteriously. 2 weeks later, in the same spot as Adrian, in the same way, right in front.
In front of the same mirror. It's like the legend says. The spirit will claw out the eyes of whoever summons it. If we don't help Pamela now, the same thing can happen to her, or worse.
That's graphic.
I know, right?
Like as the season progresses for Incredible Tales, right? Like it becomes more and more graphic. Like,
Yeah.
as we've seen in the previous episodes, right? So for this episode, right, specifically this mirror is haunted lah.
Yeah.
Right? And this apartment is also haunted. Then they don't believe what the warnings are, and then people start getting possessed and being haunted lah.
Yeah, I guess there were a lot of superstitions as we grow up hearing. So what were the first superstitions that you've ever heard?
I think mine was more like cultural stuff, like, you know, like as a kid where I would pee or urine, my parents would tell me like, you know, I have to be respectful, go to the proper places. And when I'm saying certain things, to be mindful where I'm saying it. These were like simple things that like my parents instill in me. And my mom would instill like me just like, you know, praying before I go to bed. Praying when I'm in environments that were different from mine. Like if we were staying in a hotel or we're staying at another family's house. So she instilled that in me.
You mentioned praying before you sleep. Is it a thing to pray before you sleep?
Well, it was in my family as well. So it was this whole idea of, before you go to bed, say your prayers, everything. So it was kind of similar for me. Mine was a lot of Western superstitions. It's not stuff that we believed in our family, but, you know, I heard like, don't walk underneath a ladder. If you break a mirror, it's 7 years bad luck. So those were the kind of superstitions that I grew up with. But even stuff like saying your prayers before bed, that was stuff that I was raised with as well.
Yeah, myself as well. I think religiously and culturally, we practice that. In fact, every single, even, you know, entering the room, you have to say a prayer. Even like wearing clothes, you have to say a prayer. So you have a certain prayer to kind of, you know, say out, and so that you can protect yourself against whatever evil doing that there is. On top of that, culturally, one of the things that I've started hearing when I was younger is to always close your door and window once the clock strikes 7. Because once it starts being dark, it's best for you to close your doors and windows because spirits can enter through windows.
I think I'm very, very safe because I never open my windows.
Oh, yeah.
I never knew that you would have to pray before you sleep. Like, like from the, I presume, Buddhist perspective, right? What's the reason for it?
My understanding is you're giving blessings to members of your family.
I remember there was a particular line in the prayer as well. it sounds, when it starts off, it sounds like, something that kids would say, and it almost sounds like a nursery rhyme. Then the last line is, if I die before I wake, pray the Lord my soul to take. And I was like,
Oh,
Damn, that's like
yeah, I was like,
that's so macabre. Yeah, as a kid, when you hear that, what were your thoughts?
I didn't think anything of it because I thought like, oh, it's just, raised in a religious household, they're like, at any point in time, death comes for all of us at some point. So, you want to make sure that your spirit, your soul is it's pure, it's cleansed. At least for a fact that, your soul is safe.
I second to that because I think our religion have similar teachings.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, before we sleep, we say a prayer. So just in case anything happens to us, we are kind of like kind of secured. Like we've said a prayer before we die, something like that, But we have, of course, specific verses that focuses on shooing away the evil deeds. Like, so, certain prayers that we say before bed is to also kick out all the evil things that might happen to you when you're sleeping, because there is a belief in the Malay folklore to always wash your hands, wash your legs before you go to sleep, wash your face, and then say a prayer, because if you don't, you get nightmares. Which it happens to me all the time whenever I don't do that. So it becomes a habit as well.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of washing your feet, right? Like my superstitions, my grandmother taught me was to wash my feet. She's like, every time you leave the house, just wash your feet. And it's like, no, why? Not the bad jujus follow you. And then also like I live in a household where everyone washes their feet after they come back. Then it's like a ick thing. So it's kind of like superstition, but at the same time, like just clean, right? We just like our feet because we don't wear shoes in Asia, right? So wash your feet, That's for me,
I think it's so interesting as we're sharing all this, because these are all things that we did as children, as kids, and then now we're trying to break it down. It's like, what exactly is the story behind everything? For example, washing your feet, and if you don't, then you have the bad juju following you. But what's the story behind that?
Yes,
it's really interesting. And what's the story behind, like, having these prayers before you go to sleep? Because it just becomes like, very methodic. But then, like, what is the meaning behind all this?
Yes. Okay, so I want to touch on the mirror, because I think the mirror is an object where all of us probably have heard something about it, right? So someone told me before that, if you stare at the mirror at night after 12 midnight, and there used to be a practice where people shave their eyebrows because they want to redraw it and all that.
Oh, okay.
So you won't have any facial hair, and you stare in the mirror, something else will look back at you. Because I don't know. I don't know whether that's real. Anybody tried it before? I hope not.
Like Bloody Mary? Is it the Bloody Mary thing?
No, that one is another. That's another mirror.
Bloody Mary 3 times, right?
Oh my God, I don't want to do that. Okay, but it's almost the same. But this time it's just that you have no facial hair.
Like your bald.
Eyebrows and all. Your bald is fine, but no eyebrow.
As in, like in your reflection, you don't have eyebrow and you don't have hair.
You have hair, but you don't have eyebrow.
There's no eyebrow.
Yes.
Why?
I think because you're resembling a spirit that looks like that, and then they actually reflect back to you. So hence they kind of enter your body. So hence I when I heard that, I was young, so I've had fear of looking in the mirror after 12 for no reason, even though I have eyebrows.
You want to see whether you got what would I look like without eyebrows? Is that what you wanted to do?
Just a thought.
Now just look at you and try to figure out what you look like without eyebrows.
It's just weird. Just Photoshop my face.
People look weird without their eyebrows. I mean, I ordained as a monk, and it's like, because I had to shave everything, my hair, my eyebrows.
Oh, wow, I did not know that. I thought you just have to shave your head.
No. So it's really interesting. So you look, people look different without their eyebrows. Yeah, for me, I feel like mirrors are like dimension. It's like a different dimension that we're going into. Actually, I want to touch on something that I'm going to forget. It's something that Raihan and Kyle mentioned in terms of like opening windows, closing curtains and stuff like that. I think it's really, it depends on your perspective of it, because it's like I have a very different perspective from my mom, because she closes everything, at night she closes the curtains. During the day sometimes like the room is closed, But for me, I think like her perception is she's keeping the energies outside from coming in. And then for me, I feel energies are being holed up inside, therefore they need to be released out.
Yeah.
So to this day, it's like, it's funny. Like if we're in the same space, she closes, I open.
Oh.
Yeah. So it really depends on our perspective of things. Because for me, it's like, I feel when things are dark, when things are claustrophobic, you're just keeping the same energies.
Yeah.
And then I do understand her perspective because you don't want to invite the wrong energies coming in. What's your perspective on it?
First of all, mirrors do trap things, right? Like as shown in that episode, the spirit is trapped inside the mirror, therefore it's repeating the curse, like killing other people, like affecting people that staying in that house with that mirror, right? So I think I would defer to yours because there's always a balance, yin and yang.
Yeah.
So when everything is enclosed, everything is dark, you tend to trap the negative energy. So that's why, like in the day, right, it's always advised from the perspective of a spiritual master is that you open all your windows, let the energy come in, like the yang energy, then let the air breeze out, like just flush out everything. But of course, at night you close it. So it's like a day and night kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't really practice it because I scare of bugs, but but dude, like I should, yeah. So yeah, I agree with your sentiment.
I can't remember where I heard this from. I don't think it was you, but somebody was saying that the reason why you want to open your windows is, yes, maybe something unwanted might come in, but because there's a way out, they'll just pass through. So yeah, that's what I heard, and that's what I'm also scared of bugs. So I've got mesh on my windows. So hopefully the spirits can pass through the mesh.
Yeah, but I want to touch on one thing, like the mirror thing, right? Like it really freaks me out.
Oh yeah.
Especially when I'm in a hotel. And then, right, I don't know why the interior designers for the hotel, right, they always like to put the mirror facing the bed. I remember like going to Philippines for some NGO work, right? And then immediately my friends were assigned a room with mirror. You know what they did? They brought the towel and then they just covered it. I can't deal with this. I really can't deal with this. Yeah. But I recently heard from a feng shui master, they said that mirrors can be good or bad. Depends on where you placed it. For Taoism, right, the mirrors, there's this thing called the pakwa. So it's an octagon shape, right? Then there's a mirror, and then you put it on top of the your house gate to ward off evil spirits. Because the legend is that this kind of mirror, they will show the entity their true selves, and then they will be afraid of themselves. Then you'll run away. So it's a deflect, but it's only on the door. And on the flip side is a lot of people like to have walk-in wardrobes, right? These days, and then there's a mirror. But if the mirror is facing the door of the walk-in wardrobe or the door of the room, actually is very bad for your feng shui because it means there is a never-ending struggle. Yeah, so then that would be bad lah. Or it's mirror against mirror, even worse. So it means that you have a very challenging road ahead when you meet. Not saying that there's ghosts lah, just not good for your feng shui or your aura if you believe in that lah. Yeah, so that's what I've learned about the mirrors.
Because I am redecorating the house now, so I just need to double check. So if the mirror is perpendicular to the door, that's still okay?
I don't know. I'm not a professional. That's just what I heard.
When you just need to invest in getting a feng shui master.
Yes.
And that will solve your problem.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, but that's interesting because we are talking about superstitions. We are talking about our beliefs in superstitions. How is it that, have you ever, because now that we are talking about it and you're redecorating your house, right? So have you ever had a situation where you followed a superstition and it saved your life? And if you hadn't followed that superstition, would it be different?
Very subjective whether or not what you did got you out of what was supposed to happen. But I do believe in when you do good, it's going to take over the bad. So it's like, if you're gonna, you're advised to do merits, release fishes, release a cow from being slaughtered, or going to an orphanage. I feel that's goodness anyway. So the goodness is gonna override any bad juju that's around you. So I mean, on the flip side, if you continue to find yourself in situations that's that's going to attract more bad juju, then that's going to take you the wrong route.
So I think the latest one was when I was in my mom's hometown in northern Thailand. It's a very long ride. Not like Singapore, like 30, 40 minutes you reach already one, and it's like a 1-2 hours ride. And then I was kind of hammered already. I drank a lot. And it's in the countryside, so like you don't really have rest stops.
Yeah.
So me and my dad were like, we need to pee. And well, guys, okay, we'll settle by the roadside. Then we rode up to this, like in the middle of nowhere, like rows of abandoned shop houses, then a lot like tall trees, like forest lah, around forest area, but there's like a road lah. And then we just went up. And then like, even though you're an adult, right, having your parent with you makes you a bit more braver.
Yeah.
And then they are the ones who teach you the superstition.
Yeah.
Then I asked my dad, hey, you think it's fine or you just say, sorry, excuse me, let me pee. Really urgent. Then he said, yeah, it's fine. Then you get the parents' chop of approval.
Yeah.
And then we basically, sorry, then we both pee together. then it was fine lah. I mean, it's one of those moments that it's kind of like bonding. It's kind of weird, but at the same time, it's also like, well, I think I dodged the bullet with my dad lah. But no choice lah. It's either that or you pee in your pants, right?
Yeah,
it's really no choice. I just say I'm really sorry. I do horror one. I know I shouldn't be peeing around the forest, but I'm really sorry. I need to go because I drank way too much.
Yeah. I think it makes you feel safer that you say sorry rather than not saying it at all.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether post peeing, you might have this, what if something actually followed me back because I didn't say sorry?
That's what I thought. But having like my dad there I felt safer.
Okay.
Because one, I'm not alone. Because I have to walk to a secluded section where there's barely any lights. Two, it was my dad, like someone who I'm very close with. So like it's easy lah. Yeah.
I think going back to what you were saying, like, what happens if I don't say sorry? Like, for me, it hasn't happened to me. Just want to clear that up. But
Okay.
when the question is like, has a superstition saved your life? For me, I look at how it's played out for other people, and that's how I think to myself, like, okay, maybe I'll just keep doing this. Because, saying sorry before you pee, and, it's something similar happened to somebody else I know, where it's not peeing, but might have knocked over something that they shouldn't have in a very forested area, and maybe they didn't know, but then like for a week after that, they're really sick. So for me, we've talked about respect for the supernatural so many times in the series, and I think that shows, even unintentionally, like if you disrespect something, then there will be consequences. So when I think, has a superstition saved my life? I don't know for sure, but if I'm comparing it to other people who not even consciously did not follow that superstition, I think I can say yes. Just because, thankfully, so far I've been quite safe.
Right. I think for myself, I'm a strong believer of superstitions, and I do them because I've had a fair share of things that happen to me. I mean, sleeping without saying a prayer, and then you have nightmares, ghost hauntings at night, like in your dream, that happens. Not closing the window. I'm not sure whether I shared this story before in one of the episodes, but there was one moment in time where back in my mom's house, when we were younger, we didn't close the windows, the kitchen window. And the kitchen window is famously known for sightings. Because it's an old block, right? So there are a lot of birds flying around at night. Mysterious birds. Large birds. Get what I mean? So, my brother has spotted them. The void deck is famous for whispers and sudden winds, etc. So, just what happened was we were in the living room watching TV, and then after that, out of a sudden, my mom noticed a black figure coming from the kitchen all the way into my sister's room.
Oh my God.
And then at that point of time, my mom was like, looking around, and we were all in the living room. So she was like, who just entered the room? And the room is dark, by the way. So my mom switched on the light, my sister's room, came in, and then she immediately felt like goosebumps. So she went out. my father was not there. So my father is usually the savior. So he knows best. But he was not home. He called my brother, and then he went in, and he also felt the same. So we got to do something, I mean, I think the thing is in that room. So I remembered coming in, saying a prayer, and so is my younger brother saying a prayer. Both of us had goosebumps.
Oh man.
And we just stayed out in the living room until my father came back home, and then he decided to say a prayer, cleanse the room, splash some water in. And after a while, the room starts to ease down. Hence, closing the window and doors are very important in my family, especially after a certain hour.
Just don't open.
We
Nothing
open in the
coming
morning.
out.
I agree with what I think you mentioned, the yin yang. We open in the morning, but nighttime close.
Yeah, nighttime close.
Yeah. So
You also close, right? Your windows?
I open the windows during the day and then I close them at night.
Yeah,
As what you were saying. I think we're both
Similar.
in understanding that type of understanding that on the same level of like energies.
Yeah.
Where during the day, because it's light, it's the yin yang that Kyle said, and then at night it's like you just close everything off. But I don't believe swing to one, like closing everything all the time and everything. But I find it so interesting because we all have different types of upbringing and culture. So I always find it fascinating just listening.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I am a big believer, right? That whatever you do, as long as it's not extreme, like in terms of superstitions, right?
Yeah.
You don't hurt anyone. I think it's fine.
Yeah.
And what Art said, right? Like he cannot justify whether it saved his life, but by doing it, maybe it already did, but you don't know because nothing has happened thus far because you follow the rules and respect, right?
Yeah. And I think when you're more like, you're in tune, you kind of create your, I don't even want to use the word superstition. It's like you create your own methods of respecting the energies. And then you have those particular methods that you do. I think I tend to follow that more clearly nowadays.
Yeah.
Agree.
I think it's also interesting that the culture that you live in informs those decisions that you make. Like my family was raised with a certain religion, but during the Hungry Ghost month, for example,
Right.
my mom will always, when I was a kid, my mom would tell me, make sure you're back really early because the Hungry Ghost month. And I was like, but that doesn't gel with our religion. She's like, well, just to be safe.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, likewise.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to respect each other's culture.
Yeah.
And we might accidentally cross the line if we don't.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that happens a lot when people don't know when they're in a different culture.
Yeah.
Like, when you have a lot of foreigners who travel to Southeast Asia or Asia, it's like we have our own culture and things set and traditions and they can overstep not knowing.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times that's when they end up with bad juju or bad energies without them knowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we should have like a sign, when people come to Changi Airport, like, these are our laws. These are our supernatural laws.
But honestly, it's just simple respect too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like Thailand has it. Like in Thailand, right? There's actually a set of rules already. So it's just one rule, treat Buddha with respect because it's a Buddhist country and they hold Buddha as like the highest esteem, right? So Falangs are basically foreigners. They like to go to Thailand to get like the Buddha tattoos. And it's not Satyan tattoo. Satyan tattoo is like blessed one. It's like a proper monk that's ordained. They just go to this random tattoo shop and they just tattoo Buddha. Then that's ultra disrespectful. And a lot of like the Western architectural interior firms, right, they like to decorate their house with Buddha statues. And those are actually bad. And there has been like people collecting Buddha statue heads and then they just put it in their toilet or something. That's major disrespect. Yeah.
Wow.
It's become sort of like a fashion.
Yeah.
Like, because you have the whole Zen, yoga, New Age.
Yeah, but
so then it's like the lines are very blur.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that Kyle mentioned this because I remember there was a billboard, like when you come out of the airport, this was probably in the past year. I think it was coming out of COVID and was huge. And basically, it was because you mentioned like, oh, there should be like, these are the laws of the common laws.
Yeah.
And then you have like the spiritual laws.
Yeah.
And then that reminded me that there was a billboard in regards to mocking the Buddha for foreigners. I thought that was so interesting because I've never seen that.
Yeah.
But I think it's gotten to the point where it needs to be, it needs to be kind of stated. And there are different extremes of tourists.
Yeah.
Some they just don't know.
Yeah.
And then some they should know better.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I thought that was really interesting that, the government took a step up to actually be informative about the religion and Buddha and how to respect. It was specific. It was saying that, Buddha and the culture should not be taken lightly or something like that. It was like a big billboard.
Yeah. Agree.
Okay, so we spoke about mirrors, and we know that mirrors are a part of a superstition, right? We have beliefs about mirrors. So what is it about mirrors in particular that inspire this kind of fear?
Well, I think it's like the unknown of when you're going to look into the mirror. I mean, it's a natural response. I don't think it's even like because we're articulating it, but then when you feel it, there's that you don't know what's gonna stare back at you. Depending on the environment. If you're like in a safe environment, you're using the mirror to look at yourself, brush your teeth, but you're in like a very kind of dark environment, uncomfortable environment, then you start to feel uncomfortable.
I agree on that.
I generally am okay with mirrors, but every once in a while when I'm in a particularly cowardly mood, I can't even look in the mirror, even in a comfortable space. It creeps me out a little bit every time I look in the mirror. And I mean, we'll be talking about like doppelgangers in a future episode, but it's the idea of looking at yourself. I don't know why it just creeps. Thing where if you look in the mirror and you see yourself without your eyebrows, that would freak me out. That would absolutely freak me out.
Not knowing what you will see in the mirror that really scares you. I mean, especially if it's in a dark, shady place. I mean, if it's in a bright place, it's fine. Unless you wake up and you look terrible and you look in the mirror, that scares you.
that does scare me every morning, yes.
Yeah. For me, I'm generally fine with the mirrors. I think mostly it's just what I'm afraid of is just the ones that you see in the circus, which is very rare. The mirror attraction. So it's a lot of mirrors. Then it's like a mirror maze, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that I'm scared of. But speaking of that, let's bring back the incredible scale. So basically the incredible scale, right, is a scale where we see from 1 to 10 how scary something is, okay? So I'm going to ask all of you, including the audience also, like how scary do you think the mirror is? Raihan?
4.5.
Oh,
It's not
okay.
bad. Unless you put a mirror in the cemetery and have to look at it. That's a 10.
Why?
Yeah.
Why would anyone put a mirror in the cemetery?
Why would you put this idea in other people's heads?
Yeah,
now?
people are going to put it there now.
Anywhere between an 8.5 and a 9.
Wow. That
that's
really
high.
hit mirrors.
They just, I don't know. They just creep me out so much.
We know what to get you for your birthday.
Yeah, we get you a mirror for his birthday.
Thanks, guys.
You?
5. 5 being because I'm neutral. It's like not either or. I don't think mirror really freaks me out, even though I had that one experience that I told you guys about. But I'm aware of it. I do feel I understand mirrors in the sense of like what Kyle was saying, like in terms of feng shui, how like if it's placed, it's because it can house, and it also it's the opposite. It's like it can also house, but it can also actually just be limitless as well. In 2 dimensions and whatnot, I feel.
Wow.
But yeah, I'm not as freaked out with mirrors.
Kyle?
0, bro. 0. Like,
Wow.
you know why?
Okay.
You all haven't think of something that is logical in that sense, lah. You can just smash the mirror.
But then you get 7 years bad luck.
I don't believe in that. to me, I don't believe in that. I believe if the mirror crack on its own, like when you stare at it, like one of those things that just crack, then maybe you 7 years.
Oh, yeah.
But if you smash it,
yeah.
I don't think so. It's just material,
okay.
bro. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love the practical response.
Very practical.
Yes.
It's to add on to Kyle. It's like it's the emphasis that you give to objects too.
Yeah.
It's
Actually, yeah.
so if you give the emphasis and you give it energy and you give it a story, then it's gonna start to become that story, and then energies are going to start to embody in those objects. Yeah.
Wow. The mystery of the cup. I'm just putting a story.
If my barber happens to be watching this episode, I just want her to know this is why every time I come to you and I want to shave, it's because I just don't want to look into the mirror.
Nice.
So yes.
All right, so this question is for everyone. What's a superstition that you have heard that is just too silly to believe?
I actually have an answer ready for this one. I remember, because I said like when I was growing up, I would hear all these Western superstitions.
Yeah.
And so like, the break the mirror, you can't walk under the ladder and stuff like that. All those, I'm like, The one I heard was a rhyme, step on a crack, break your mother's back.
Oh?
Wow.
Yeah. So if you see a crack on the pavement and if you step on it, your mother's back will be broken. And I was like,
Okay, I like how that you gave context because my mind was going
I know.
somewhere
I can see where your mind was going. I was like, that's a step too far even for me. No pun intended, step too far, but yeah.
It's not like the common methods to take, but then you have people out there who are going to take advantage of people who are looking for hope or they feel hopeless and they don't know what to do. Yeah. So then they go to these quote unquote self-professed like gurus and doctors. And I think they start to come up with all these like strange and silly ways of like, of superstition, So it's like,
So, okay, I just remember I got one. Basically, this one is, I think, quite universal with Chinese people, I guess. But I never believed in it. They say if you eat quail eggs, any eggs like from birds that are smaller than a chicken egg, you're going to get like bad luck.
Oh.
I don't know why. I challenged the notion and I was like, why? It's like, no, like, just get bad luck because you eat like something so small. But you eat egg, egg is also small. Like, it's also like sin. Isn't it the same? So you're saying that you value the life of an egg over a value like of the quail egg. So doesn't make sense. So I thought that was pretty ridiculous.
Right.
I know you said that that's something that you don't believe, but from now on, just to be safe, I'm not going to have any more quail eggs.
Walao, quail eggs are nice, okay?
They're great.
They are amazing.
But
especially the lock ones, the lock ones.
Oh yeah, those are nice. Yeah.
Those are nice.
For myself, there was a belief that if you open up an umbrella in the house, a snake will enter. Yeah. Yeah, there was a belief. So, my parents, they used to say, don't put the umbrella in your house, put them outside the house. And then also, if you put it in the house, better to close it, So I was like, are you sure? So I actually tested that theory before. I did. I opened up the umbrella and I just put it there. And I'm like, I'm just going to leave it for hours. There were no snakes. I kind of argued back, well, there's no snakes. Then I understood why the context happened. Is because back in the days, in the kampong days, when you open an umbrella, you put it there, and there were a lot of snakes, right? Even in kampong days. The snakes will come in to seek shelter under those umbrellas. Hence the belief.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Also, there was another belief saying that because the umbrellas have sharp edges, if you put it in a closed room or a house, young children might accidentally poke their eye onto the sharp edges. Hence, they created this kind of beliefs to make you, not open up.
It's interesting because it has a practical element to
Right,
it.
yeah.
And
Right.
then it's been like converted to a superstition.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very
It's
interesting.
like the wash leg thing.
Yeah.
Wash your feet. Kind
Right,
of
right.
Yeah.
Although I still believe in that.
But on the flip side, Wayne knows this. So never open your umbrella indoors for Chinese.
Oh.
Because umbrellas can shelter spirits. So a spirit can actually hide inside an umbrella.
Oh,
so you open it up,
likewise.
then the spirit come out. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's why they always keep the umbrella outside of the house. Or you don't open it. It's bad luck.
Right.
So that's the most famous one. Yeah.
All right. So it's time once again for our morbid fact of the day, courtesy as always of Kyle.
So there's one about a famous superstitions where you walk under a ladder is actually bad luck. So the reason for this possible origin is for that when you walk under a ladder and it's placed against a wall, it forms a triangle representing the Christian Holy Trinity. So walking under a ladder actually breaks the Trinity, hence bad luck.
I used to play under the ladder as a child. When your parents open up. I mean,
It's just dangerous, bro.
I know. Whoops. Please don't do this. But you know the ladder, when you open up the ladder, it's like that, right? So it's like, there's this, the bridge is falling down, and it goes in and out, in and out, in and out.
I like how you were so excited about something very specific. I used to play under the ladder as a child.
Have you heard about that? Like the bad luck for the ladder thing?
I've always heard it since growing up, but I never knew the origin of it.
Yeah.
That's why I'm actually like reading it because it's so it's very interesting deep diving into these things like that's been embedded in you and you really don't know where the facts are really from. You're like, oh, okay, that's where it came from.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question for you guys.
Okay.
Like, growing up, right, when we walk past something that is bad luck or walk under something that's bad, for example, a ladder, so they will do this,
Oh.
Have you guys heard of this?
No.
So if the audience, know, please put in the comments and let us know, because this means that you will negate the bad luck.
Oh.
So if you walk,
This?
So you walk under a ladder, you do this, then you walk under all the hanging clothes,
Yeah.
especially underwear, you do this also. So to negate the bad luck. I don't know. I really don't know what's the thing. This was told by my grandmother and this was told by my schoolmates also. I don't say, you walk under this and you must like that. Then the bad luck gone.
Okay.
Can you go find more info behind that?
Yes, please. But what is this action? What is this?
That's what I mean because that's what I mean.
For the audio people
it'd be
who are
interesting
listening
to
in.
know where the origin is because like we can easily. I mean, let's say like today we come up with like a. And then all of a sudden it's like in the next, when we see people walking through.
I think for every
But I think
subsequent episode
there
we
should be a
doing
story
this.
behind it. The point is.
I'm sure someone will let us know. Yeah.
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 What are you going to say?
No, I was gonna say like for every subsequent episode from here on, we should just do this randomly.
Okay.
It's gonna be a thing. Yeah, it's gonna be a thing.
This is an example of superstition.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of the superstition that we follow, we don't like. Some of them could be something that's just it came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And then it just became something that was symbolic to for us to do to get to a certain place to ward off bad energies.
Yeah.
So I think it's really interesting that we have this conversation because it's
Yeah.
like we're comparing notes of like things that have been embedded, and then it's interesting that there are facts where they're from, but then there's a lot that we don't know too.
I agree.
I'm looking forward to finding out what your search terms are gonna be for this slapping chin with hand bad luck.
Probably the search result will be how to get rid of your double chin. Right, so thank you again, Utt, for joining us, and thank you everyone for tuning in to Tales from Incredible Tales. New episodes will be on every week on Me Watch, Me Listen, YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts.
My name is Utt.
My name is Wayne.
My name is Kyle.
My name is Raihan, and we will see you next time.